Hello and welcome to Leveraging AI. This is Isar Metis, your host, and I've got a fascinating episode for you today. We are going to talk to Don Bosco on how to use AI to personalize videos of yourself. So not like an avatar or a deepfake video, actually how you can use AI to personalize the messages in those videos to specific individuals in various steps of the user journey. At the end of the episode, like every episode, I will share some exciting news that happened in the AI world this week. And now to the fascinating episode about AI video personalization with Don Bosco.
In the next few years, AI technology will change our world dramatically. Whether you are a business executive trying to catapult your business forward, or just somebody who refuses to be left behind and want to advance your career, this is the show for you. I'm your host, Isar Metis, a serial entrepreneur and an AI enthusiast. You'll hear invaluable practical tips from innovative business leaders, AI practitioners, and some of the brightest AI minds in our world today on how you can leverage AI in ethical ways to advance your career and grow your business.
Hello and welcome to Leveraging AI, the podcast that shares practical, ethical ways to leverage AI, improve efficiency, grow your business, and advance your career. This is Isar Metis, your host, and I'm really excited today. And the reason I'm excited is because face-to-face human communication has been a core building block of relationship building, which in return has been the core building block of businesses for generations. The problem with face-to-face communication is that it's very expensive and it's not very efficient and it's not scalable. You're wasting a lot of time on travel and money. And so the next best thing that we have in our era is video communication. You can now communicate with people through video, which saves you the travel and some of the overhead, but you got to choose when you use videos, whether you want to make it really personalized, meaning are you sending this to a specific person in a specific use case with a specific name, in a specific scenario, or you make it scalable, meaning I can record a general video to a specific persona, and then I can send it to a lot of people, but I cannot do both, at least not until recently. So our guest today, Don Bosco, has founded a company called BHuman, like the letter B and then human. He actually founded it 3.5 years ago. So way before the current craze of AI. And what the platform enables you to do, and when I found it a few days ago, it literally blew my mind. It enables you to record a video, and then after you recorded an actual video of you, personalize specific keywords and have the AI change what you're actually saying to make it relevant to a person. The name of his company, where is he from, his name, change the background of the video to stuff that's relevant to that person. And it really blew my mind. And the opportunities there on multiple aspects of the business started running in my head. So I reached out, and Don was nice enough to say yes and be a guest on the podcast. So Don, I'm really excited to have you on the show today. We're going to talk about how to use AI and how to use AI in video personalized in order to boost and enhance multiple steps of a company's user journey, which I think everybody that's listening is going to find fascinating. So thank you for joining us. Welcome to Leveraging AI.
Yeah, thank you so much, Isar, for having me. And I love the way that you introduced BHuman, which starts from the human connection, because actually that's the entire reason why I founded the company. It was to solve my own pain point. I was running a lead generation agency. And if anyone has done lead generation, you know that it is brutal, right? And it's just the toughest training down you can go through. And so started to work with video and realized that if I can make a video say someone's name and talk about their company in a way that's relevant, they're going to think that video was just recorded for them. And therefore bringing back that human connection. And that's been our North Star since day one, continues to be. I love the way you're thinking about it.
Beautiful. By the way, I've done this manually several times in the past, meaning I've recorded myself in a long message. I stayed in the same lighting, same background, same microphone, and then just went and recorded people's names to say, hi this, hi that, and edit it into the beginning of the video. So there's a way to do this manually. It's just really time consuming. And if you want to do this for other stuff that is not right in the beginning, it's very clunky. So Really, let's take it from the top. Let's go user journey step by step and look at different stages of the user journey and how can technology like this or other AI-based technologies can be used in order to boost the results of that particular stage in the user journey.
Yeah. The first thing I want to preface this with is that it's really all about psychology. That's the number one. I think that when there's a new technology, especially something that has a lot of hype and craze around it, like AI does right now, there's this tendency to think of it as, okay, this is the hammer that's going to hit all nails, right? This tool will solve that. And so you just mindlessly just start hitting places. But really, you should look at AI and particularly BHuman, which is all about human communication, as a tool for psychology. Basically, how can I have psychological interactions at scale? Okay, if you look at it that way, what kind of psychological interactions am I trying to have? And you can get really creative with this. So there's an exercise I like to always recommend to folks who are new to BHuman and new to really applying AI in a practical way that is producing results and not just some sort of flashy thing, right? It involves sitting down, and it's one of those things where it's like, you're reading a book and it recommends an exercise and you're like, yeah, okay, I get it. I don't need to do the exercise. But really, I promise you, take 15 minutes on a coffee break and do this. I guarantee you will have some breakthroughs. Guarantee. If you don't, let me know. But basically, so sit down for 30 minutes and sit down with a blank piece of paper and a pen and think about your customer journey from start to finish. Meaning, what is the experience that your customers go through from first not knowing you exist to maybe hearing about you or seeing your ad, whatever your acquisition funnel may be, to then landing on your page and getting educated and so on and so forth, all the way down to becoming an advocate that is now referring you clients and business. And think about each point along that funnel. And as you do that, you're going to be like, okay, you may start with 5 points and you really think about it. There's going to be 25, maybe 30 points there. And it goes really as in-depth as you'd like. And then think about where the friction points are, meaning where between maybe step 7 and step 8, maybe 30% of people are dropping off. And why is that? And then think about how AI can supercharge and reduce friction between those steps. So BHuman, all about personalized videos at scale. So I'll give you, we work in over 17 industries in basically every major language across almost every continent. So we've seen a huge variety of use cases, everyone from the average mid-level marketer at SMB in the US to a politician in Chile to government in, let's say, somewhere in Asia, right? Like hospital groups. We've seen so many use cases. So it's given us a lot of inspiration in terms of how it can be applied. So that's the broad exercise I'd recommend. And as you do that, you'll start to see, okay, for example, I'm driving people from a Google search onto a site where they fill out a form. They fill out the form to get more information, then they hear back 2 days later. You'll notice that maybe 60% of people are not responding to that reply that you give them 2 days later. And how can you supercharge that? One example, right, just to give you an idea and some inspiration is whenever that form is filled out, you can use one of our integrations with Zapier or Pabbly or API to trigger a video of you saying, hey, first name, whatever that first name would be. Hey, Jake. Hey, Paul. So I just fill out the form requesting a quote. I know you're in Toronto and we actually have an office there. Why don't you come in for a chat, right? So you can programmatically have these human, very psychologically positive experiences that are going to make the recipient feel really special, feel impressed that they just filled out this form 10 minutes ago. And now they're getting a video from you saying their name, inviting them in. We have a car dealership, a group of car dealerships doing this in the US. And like, we have this persona of Lisa. Lisa's always the one responding to leads as they come in. And she's like, hey, John, I actually have this car sitting in my lot. Why don't you come in? Let's have a chat. We can test drive it. And everyone comes in saying, hey, I just got a video from Lisa. Lisa asked me to come in. And it doesn't exist. Lisa's always on lunch break. Like, it just shows how people really love it and really respond to it.
I love that. I want to touch on a few things that you mentioned that connect in several different things that I find really important in this whole analysis process, because that's like the first stage you're talking about. First thing is understanding your customers is probably the most important part of any business. So the exercise you suggested is good for anyone, regardless of anything. Just sit back, go to 30,000 foot level, and really think about where there's friction and who exactly is your customer. What are they trying to do? When in that journey, there's things you want to do that doesn't really align with what they want to do. And then how do you make it better? Nobody likes filling out forms. So is there a way to remove that level of friction. Maybe a video in that page with their name and say, hey, in the form page, oh, this is really for me. So there's so many ways to look at that. That's one thing. The other thing is in general where to use AI, right? So this is just another AI tool. You said there's like a gazillion of them right now and another gazillion every week or so. So what are the use cases you want to use AI? And you want to use AI where there is either data analysis that needs to be done at scale that humans just are not very good at. We are, but it just takes us a very long time. When there's data prediction required, when there's personalization required, and when it happens on a high frequency. And if you have a bunch of these together, then meaning it's a repetitive process that happens all the time that requires data analysis and so on, you hit gold. Meaning, if you find these cases where you have the data, and the data could come from a form, could come from your CRM, could come from people entering the data somehow, but you have the data on a specific person, and then you have to provide personalized messaging to them to increase whatever results you're trying to increase. Now you have ways to do that by sending personalized. It doesn't have to be video, by the way. It could be text messages, could be emails, could be whatever. But you can take the data that you have and apply it in a way that will reduce the friction, build a closer relation, and increase the results of anything that you're basically trying to do. So, two very important points. Let's really take some examples on different steps of user journeys. And like you said, multiple industries will be awesome because people are listening are from different industries, and try to really analyze how this kind of technology can be applied in order to get better results.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. And just to echo what you mentioned there, one trick that has always worked well for me, in fact, this is what led me to coming up with the idea for BHuman some 3+ years ago, is thinking, imagining that I had all the resources in the world, right? Imagining there was just one customer I wanted to win. Like, what would I do to win that customer, right? And my life depended on it. I had to win the customer, right? Think about the experience they would receive and then take that as, okay, this is what will happen. Now then walk back to how can you practically make that happen at scale? That's a nice little trick for me that's always works. I recommend that. In terms of the use case, yeah, very broad ranging. I'll just run through some examples and let me know if anything.
Yeah. And really, let's try to go by order. So let's start with, like, nobody knows that I exist.
Sure.
But because I think that's the hardest part, right? Because then it's not personalized because I don't know who the person is. So what use cases in the awareness stage you've seen people do in order to create awareness using this kind of tool?
Yeah. Okay. So in terms of, especially looking at B2B, right? So you're doing cold outreach, right? We actually have a tool we just released called Leader, which is a app within the BHuman platform. And what that does is it enables you to go into LinkedIn, search for any audience you want. Let's say marketing managers in New York who are in retail, right?
Okay.
Search, come back to BHuman, put that search URL, the link that you just searched for, put that into BHuman. And then you can create a video or select a video we already have on our template store. So for example, hey name, this is Dawn from software.com, whatever it might be. I saw that you're a manager and you're working in retail. We have an office in New York and I have the tool I want to show you. I'm wondering if I could maybe come in, you can have a cup of coffee and I can show you this tool, how it's going to make your life amazing. Then all you have to do is hit start. And essentially what will happen is immediately AI videos will start being created for who appeared on that audience list and generated. So we're changing what you're saying in those videos and then sent out to all those people each and every day in an ongoing fashion. So you just set it up once and you just watch the leads roll in. For any B2B use case, I'd recommend that for cold outreach. And the reason why we built that in the beginning, and we've been building this tool Leader for over a year now, and it actually just was released yesterday. So we're very excited for it.
Congratulations. And it sounds awesome, by the way. It's like a really cool automation process that otherwise people probably would have done manually with your tool anyway.
Exactly. That's the exact point. Any outbound campaign is three things. It's data, it's content, and distribution. So think of a three-legged stool. If any of those legs are broken, everything falls apart. I designed this because I've run so many outreach campaigns in the past myself for clients, and I know how painful it can be. And so this is basically designed the least painful possible way to do it at scale that's reliable. It doesn't give you a headache every day. And so on the data, you're getting it from LinkedIn. So you don't have to scrape, you don't have to verify email addresses, all that stuff. It's all on LinkedIn. So that's solved. Content, of course, personalized video. This is in our experience, and you can ask anyone in marketing who's played with video, personalized video just performs better than text any given day, all the time. So that's content. And then distribution. This is where things really get tripped up because even if you make the best videos possible, you have the best data possible. If your emails go to spam, right? You might as well just gone to the beach that day and not even tried. The nice thing about LinkedIn is there's really no way to know this, but according to research rates, benchmarks out there, about 70% of LinkedIn messages get opened and viewed, right? Which is a fantastic open rate. You look at email and you're happy with a 30% open rate is great, right? And then the beautiful thing about it is unlike email, you don't have to think about, you don't have to watch the delivery rates and maybe stop the campaign and start it, right? LinkedIn just runs. So we designed it to be the easiest possible plug and play solution for cold outreach, which is a really big segment of our user base because a lot of our users are B2B and they're wanting to start that initial funnel. And then in terms of the B2C side, we've seen a couple of interesting things here. So usually it starts from social media. So someone will start a giveaway sort of campaign, or you have to tag friends to win a giveaway. Let's say it's like a local business, a restaurant, something like that. What they'll do is they'll collect phone numbers. And this is really key. So I said that LinkedIn open rate is 70%. That's phenomenal. Phone number open rate is anywhere between 95 to 98%.
Like text messages.
Text messages, exactly,
Yeah.
right? Messages. And we've seen this work really well where business will essentially find any reason possible to collect phone numbers of people in the area, right? And have their permission, of course, to send them a message. Then what they'll do is they'll have, like in the case of a restaurant, there's actually a really nice video I saw of a user doing this as a chef, and he was in the kitchen and he generated a video saying, "Hey name, this is blah, blah, blah from blah, blah, blah restaurant. I want to let you know that we're having an event on Tuesday. We're launching this new menu." I don't remember exactly what the special was, but there's some sort of really enticing special. And he said, "I saw you enter the giveaway and I just chose out a name and I want you to come down and have a free plate on us." And that's just habituating and getting them to come into the restaurant, love the food, and then they're a loyal customer. And because that was sent out our SMS, because it was local, because it was a name they've heard before in a restaurant around town, it worked phenomenally well. So that's very top of the funnel, B2B, B2C. Nobody knows you. How do you start? Those are two plays that I've seen work really well.
Amazing. By the way, I'm going to jump. I know I said I want to go step by step, but just in my head, this clicked something else because it connected to what I said before about having data about things and how do you collect it. Just think about any kind of business, whether B2B or B2C, and you had connections with specific either clients or potential clients and stuff about them, but they disappeared. Like one of those, they became a cold lead and you don't know what to do with them. This is an incredible tool to dig through that data and then send those personalized messages. Again, if you have their phone, even better. But think about that restaurant and somebody that was a regular or that chose there several times, and you know what they order because you can see in your checkout, okay, this guy always orders the pasta bolognese and he's been here 5 times in the last 6 months, but I haven't seen him for 3 months. You can say, hey, Shal or Gina or whoever, we haven't seen you in a few months. That bolognese is really waiting for you. I have one with your name on it. Just come in. And you can do that with these kind of tools today, just by digging through data in your CRM, building an automation that will pull this data up and will automatically create these things. And it's absolutely mind-blowing. It's something, going back to what you said in the beginning, Don, it's something you would really like to do, and you won't do it just because it's so time-consuming. It's going to work. And now there's a way to do that. So now that I totally destroyed my own rule of let's go step by step, let's go back to step by step. And now you have awareness. What's the next step that people use this for?
On that note, before we go back to the being in order, we've had a lot of gyms use us for that exact thing. When someone hasn't been in the gym for, let's say, 1 or 2 weeks, they'll get a message from a face they know, the front desk or trainer. "Jim, what are you doing? It's been 2 weeks. Get your butt in here. We're waiting for you. Where are you?" And that works very well. But okay, coming back to where we were. So in terms of once they're in the funnel, top of the funnel, what's the next step?
Yeah.
Okay, sure. So you have some interest, right? Someone is curious. Now it's all about, usually, of course, it depends on your business and your funnel, but usually now it's about education, right? Showing them, enticing them. So there are a lot of ways to do this. I'll pull up a real estate example I've seen that's been interesting. There's a group of apartments that are owned by a single individual, and he rents them out usually to students. And what I've seen him do is when someone is interested, and by the way, this is all through WhatsApp. So his flow was starting on Instagram. So it's kind of like a B2C use case, you could say, right? These are students. starting on Instagram, getting followers in different ways. And then when someone is interested, it's like, great, let's chat on WhatsApp. I can send you a tour of the apartment. And then what he does is, let's just say there are 10 different apartments, right? That he's renting out for like short-term periods, a couple months. So this is happening often. What he does is he'll have someone do a personalized walkthrough tour of the apartment. So selfie style video, holding up the phone, very natural, very casual looking. Hey, name, this is Don with blah, blah, blah. I heard that you're interested in a place here in city, whatever that city would be. Why don't I give you a quick tour? So then they basically just turn the phone around and just start giving a tour of the apartment. And it also helps that the actor is really friendly and energetic, and it's someone they would want to hang out with because they're students, right? And so they're in a new city for Erasmus, right? And that's worked phenomenally well because there's that instant human connection going. Okay, it's an Instagram page. I'm looking for a place to, okay, now I feel like I have a friend in this new city I just moved to. Yeah, I've seen that work really well. And then thinking about other industries, we have.
I want to pause you for 1 second because I think there's an underlying thing here that connects just to solid marketing and, like you said, solid psychology that has to be a part of this when you're planning these kind of things, which is you got to pick the right persona to attract the right audience to do the thing you want them to do. So the two examples that you gave, a really cool guy or gal that is a college student that's showing you around an apartment in the city you just moved into is awesome to attracting other people to come into that apartment complex. Having a really cool chick trying to attract people to come and buy a car, which usually is going to be a male person buying a car, I assume. And so having that chick say, hey, I have this car on the lot, come check it out, will get more people to come in than an old fat dude with a non-shaved beard. It's just human psychology. So again, if you understand your target audience and you understand what's going to build that connection, and you use an actor or somebody from the company, and like you said, in many cases, it can be as easy. Sometimes the best videos, especially these kind of videos that are personal, the less professional they are, the better. You want to make them look casual. Like literally, when I saw your tool, the first thing I thought about, this is crazy. Like, I can walk my dog in the street, grab my phone, film a thing that looks completely authentic. Like, it doesn't look professionally produced, which means there's a less chance people think that there's some kind of a trick behind this, that I made this at scale, because it's just me walking my dog. Say, hey, I'm just walking my dog. I thought about you, blah, blah, blah. You got to figure out what's going to build that connection with the target audience. Pick that particular person, that particular scenario, that particular topic you want to raise, and that's going to build. So the tool is just a tool. Core good marketing and psychology thinking behind it has to happen regardless. But sorry, I stopped you. You had another use case you wanted to share.
Spot on. And I've had one of the best campaigns ever for us internally. Literally on that street right there, walking with a cup of coffee, going down the street saying, hey, name, just head to the office and a friend sent me your LinkedIn. Thought I'd reach out with a little impromptu video message, go on with the pitch. And all of the examples I gave there in this entire podcast could have been done the same sort of step in the customer journey. They could have been done with low energy, just not bringing your best to the table, and you would still have AI at work, but the results wouldn't be good. So you're absolutely right. Like, psychology, that's what like I said at the start, like psychology is really the product here, the foundation, the thing. AI is just enabling that to be possible.
Yeah.
We've even had people request, like larger enterprises, for example, an insurance company say, hey, for anyone who is, let's say, between the ages of 25 and 35, they don't have kids and they're in this sort of persona group, we want to use this actor. For anyone who's over 65, we want to use that actor. And totally doable. Yeah, but so next step in the customer journey after that is around hopefully the purchase time, right? And interesting thing we've seen here is, so abandoned cart is a really big problem in e-commerce.
Yeah.
In fact, 80% of all e-commerce business is lost due to abandoned cart, which is crazy if you think about that number. How many people you've spent money to bring them to the checkout page and you just lose them, 80% of them. So what we've seen people start to do on BHuman is generate abandoned cart recovery videos. So whenever someone is, let's say, shopping on your Shopify store and they abandon cart, that triggers BHuman through, let's say, a Zapier flow they set up to generate a video that says something like, hey, name, I saw you're looking at products. My name is Don, the creator at store.com. I actually was part of the design process for that product. And here, let me show you. And you can actually show the product right there and perhaps describe it, talk about how great it is. and then offer some sort of discount to help make the decision easier for you. I just threw in 10% off. Or I see you're a new customer, so I'd love to give you a little gift. So once you order, I'll throw something special in there for you. And that gets sent out a couple minutes after they abandon cart. So that's when momentum is highest. They were just considering buying that, right? So better to hit them right then than 2 days later when they're already thinking about something else. So if they don't actually complete the purchase, that's a really valuable thing to do. Capture that intent, see where they are and see what they need to get that next step, bring them over the finish line. And then of course, once they do order, be it for e-commerce or anything else, developing the relationship. You just invested in something. You want ideally some sort of instant feedback, right? So some sort of thank you video, like next steps video. We've seen that work really well with customer success and like software sales across different platforms that use BHuman. So people feel like they're taken care of, right? They're just not, okay, thanks for your credit card. Good luck.
Yeah. I love this. I think these are really awesome. I want to mention something specific about the platform that really caught my attention because I'm a tech geek and I'm a CEO of a company and I consult to companies on how to implement this kind of technology. And there's really a lot of thought in the product on how to really help personalize things. So as an example, BHuman allows you to create a CSV file or shortly, as I understand, connect straight to Google Sheets, but it doesn't matter. You can create a table with all the personalization data and have the videos be created using that data. So all the different parameters you want to have in a video, like first name, like location, like phone number, name of product, like any kind of stuff like that you want to have is incredibly easy to generate and then have that a part of the videos that you create, which again allows you to create videos that are custom tailored to a specific scenario, to a specific thing. Now, I'll say something that is somewhat contradicting to this. There are other platforms out there today that allow you to create the videos out of thin air with digital avatars. And the benefit of those platforms is that you don't have to record a video at all. You just grab a text and the text could be even generated by ChatGPT or Bard or anything, and you drop it in there and you can create 1,000 videos in about 5 seconds without recording anything. The use cases for that are, I think, very different because these avatars still don't look human. Like it's getting better. It's okay. It will be great to use these platforms for things like FAQs. So somebody explaining different things that are happening or questions that people have, or do a walkthrough of a software product, which is constantly changing and you don't want to record a new video every 3 days when you launch a new version of your product. But when it comes to creating a human connection, that real video, and again, the less polished it is, the more connection you're going to get because people would really think you're connecting with them. For all of those use cases, those avatars are still not good. They're just not there yet. Will they be there? Maybe. I don't know. Probably. But as of right now, it's not there yet. And having an actual person, having a video makes a very big difference. So I think there's room in your world of building your AI tech stack for both these kind of solutions for different use cases.
Yeah, that's a great point. And we've been in this space for a while, really. And we've watched the market evolve and develop. And like you said, I mean, more than I could ever know it count. There's so many platforms out there that allow you to do that text to video. And it's really impressive technology. But like you said, our North Star has always been human connections at scale. And that's informed literally everything from how we do our engineering to how we do customer service. And so, yeah, you're exactly right. It can be useful, right? If you need to make a presentation and it's late and it's due in the morning and you don't want to film, definitely. And you don't need to make it look like you actually filmed it. Absolutely. Our use cases are more like that sort of ongoing customer journey interaction.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like I said, I definitely see a room for both in different use cases, for different purposes, with different needs, with different limitations. So there's definitely room for a lot of them. But in general, I think the ability to, and I'm going back to how you started, because I think that's the key of all of it. It has to do with good understanding of where your customer is in their journey. What do they want and need in that step of the journey? And how can you use AI tools to create personalization at scale in order to help them through that journey with the least friction? And this is really one tool that helps solve it in a very unique way. Don, this was a great conversation. I think we touched on a lot of important stuff, both in theory as well and in practicality, how it can be implemented. If people want to follow you, learn from you, work with you, what are the best ways to do that?
Yeah. You can find us basically on any platform: LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok even. Search for BHuman, just the letter B and then human, or visit our site, bhuman.ai. Go sign up. If you hear this interview and do sign up, send me an email and I'll throw in a little discount for your first month as a friend of the czar and help you get started. And you can email me at Don at bhuman.ai.
Don, thank you so much. This was absolutely awesome. I appreciate you taking the time.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
What a great episode with Don. I really enjoyed talking to him. We covered so many potential use cases, and in my head, I've got probably 50 more, and you probably have your own. So go check it out. I think it's a really interesting, unique way to use AI in order to create human personalization connection, which is probably the best combination of AI and human. And now to some news from this week. There's been multiple exciting news and interesting news in the past week or so. First of all, Anthropic introduced Claude 2. Claude is like ChatGPT. It's another large language model. Anthropic is one of the leading suppliers, and they just announced that Claude 2, their second version, is now available to the public. Different than ChatGPT and OpenAI, Anthropic has built their large language model around what they call constitutional AI, which is basically a set of principles that allows it to keep the right judgment and make the right calls in things that we humans actually care about, which is supposed to make it safer to use as well as less biased and so on. So remove some of the negative aspects of AI. When I heard about it the first time, it takes me back to Isaac Asimov's books with the rules for robots, like the same concept. There's a set of rules that it will never break because it's built into the core architecture of how it operates. But now that's now available to the public, and it actually beats ChatGPT on many different tests. So it's worth checking it out as an alternative on various aspects of what you're doing with generative AI. Another large US-based company that announced something interesting is Stable Diffusion, which announced Stable Doodle, which allows you to scribble something, doodle something on a piece of paper and turn that into an actual image, which is another cool way to use AI if you're not a great artist and you still want to create interesting things just based on your sketches. In parallel to that, another news from the US is that Hollywood writers has been on strike for a while now. Some of it is because their fear of AI taking their job. And now the Actors Union has joined them in an act to completely change the way money is distributed in Hollywood. This is not completely related to AI, but some of it is really the fear of AI being involved more and more in the creation of movies, which will take away from the part and hence the pay of human actors and human script writers. Now let's start going a little bit outside of the US. Google finally made Bard available in the European Union, going from US and the EU into China, announced their interim laws to guide generative AI. And they have touched on multiple aspects of how AI should be controlled in China. They have touched on things on how data can be collected, the fact that if personal information is collected, it has to be approved by each user. They've also put the legal burden on the developers of AI platforms on negative outcomes of people using the platform, which means they have to monitor how people are actually using it and then prevent them from using it for negative things, as well as forcing them to report them on specific aspects of negative usage. I find the set of rules, despite the fact that they have some negative aspects to it, such as socialism has to be in the forefront of all of this. If I ignore that part of bias in the rules that they've set, I actually think that the set of rules, or at least the summaries that I had access to translated to English, make a lot of sense because they put a lot of responsibility on the developing company to make sure they put guardrails as well as tracking and reporting systems on how AI is developed, how data is collected, and what are the usages. I really hope that we'll start seeing laws like that in the US and everywhere else around the world as well. And one last big piece of news from this week is that Elon Musk just launched his company X.AI. As you probably know, Elon has been involved with AI for a very long time. He was one of the founders of OpenAI, the company that eventually gave us ChatGPT. He left the board after some major disagreements with the current leadership. but he just launched his own company. He was able to bring over to his company some of the leading researchers from both OpenAI and Google and probably some other places. So some really big names are joining him. He is doing this, in his words, to understand the universe and do bigger things. Knowing Elon Musk, he doesn't do anything small. So I expect to see some big things coming from X.AI sometime in the short to medium future. That's it for this week. Keep on exploring AI, test things out, share what you find with me on LinkedIn. I love when you reach out to me and give me tips and ideas or feedback on the podcast. A week after this podcast comes out, so on the 26th to the 28th of July, I'm going to attend MACON, which is the Marketing AI conference in Cleveland. So if you're going to be there, please reach out to me. I would love to get to know you and see if we can cooperate somehow in the future. And until next time, have an amazing week.